I was doing what I wanted to do, paying my own way and making my own rules.
Should we all say it together? I think we all know. Girl in the world.
All good ideas are simple. That's my theory.
Hedy Lamarr.
Hedy Lamarr.
The Beauty of Her Brains, The Luxuriant Double Life of Hedy Lamarr. Hedy Lamarr was an immigrant bombshell actress by day and intelligent inventor by night who created a secret communication system using frequency hopping in 1942 as an attempt to prevent Germans from jamming radio communications. Her groundbreaking invention eventually became the basis of the most frequently used and advanced modern-day technology.
You really came over here with a bang.
Yeah.
Huh?
Nice.
Yes. Yes.
Before Hedy created her groundbreaking creation, she established a reputation for herself in the acting community. She was widely known as a bombshell in the media.
I am Tandaleo.
Especially her controversial appearance in a film called Ecstasy in 1934, which ultimately took off her career. However, she was beginning to grow tired of that being the only way most people viewed her, famously quoting, "Any girl can be glamorous. All you have to do is stand still and look stupid."
The people have the idea of I'm a sort of a stupid thing. I never knew I looked good to begin with.
They say it isn't right, that it shouldn't happen. Anyone as fabulously beautiful as Hedy Lamarr simply cannot possess brains.
From 6 different marriages to immigrating around the globe, the public only saw her glamorous roller coaster of a life.
You want me to tell you what your image is? It's a glamorous, beautiful, internationally known star who obviously rides in limousines and has great jewels, and you don't scrub your kitchen floors.
I don't like that, but tell me more. I never lived that way.
Isn't that what it's all about?
No, not to me. I guess in the image it is, but you know.
However, most people were not aware that after her work for the day was done, she would return to her trailer to tinker with her own inventions.
Inventing was her hobby. She not only had a complete inventing table set up in her house, but Howard Hughes gave her a small version of the set of equipment, which she had in the trailer where she stayed in between takes in her motion pictures.
One of her most useful inventions would later become an asset for the military. Shortly before Hedy's discovery, German U-boats with many escaping people were commonly being demolished. Germans had found ways to interrupt radio frequencies that guided military torpedoes.
In times of crisis, most of us feel powerless. But a few discover in themselves unexpected strength. And Hedy being Hedy, she said, I'm going to do something about that.
The brains of the people are more interesting than the looks, I think.
One fateful night, Hedy discovered flamboyant composer George Antel at a dinner party. Infatuated with his intelligence, she wrote her number in lipstick across his windshield, and the rest is history. Together, they came up with the idea for a secret military communication system. It was roughly based off the technology used in a player piano. Player pianos are self-playing pianos that work with a roll of previously programmed notes the piano automatically plays.
Instead of just one transmit frequency communicating, she said, what if we change those frequencies constantly in sync with each other? Frequency hopping. You couldn't jam it because you'd only jam a split second of it in a single frequency. So
anyone listening for a signal on a single given frequency would only hear a blip, making it impossible to jam.
A secret way of guiding that torpedo to the target that couldn't be interrupted, that couldn't be jammed, that couldn't be messed with. It was secret. Frequency change, frequency hop, frequency hop, frequency hop.
that concept, secure radio communications, was brilliant.
They were granted a patent during the summer and donated this invention to the U.S. military to eradicate radio communication jamming.
They said, what do you want to do? Put a player piano in a torpedo? Get out of here.
Instead, they encouraged Hedy to raise money in war bonds. Hedy went on to raise almost $3 million selling her Kiss. People found more respect for her body than for her brain, which was incredibly demeaning.
Hedy withdrew from the world at the end of her life. She really felt misunderstood. Part of it was a shoplifting arrest, which she may or may not have been guilty of. And part of it was that she had this really unfortunate plastic surgery at the end of her life to try and shore up that beauty. She was so withdrawn by the time she started to get recognized for her invention that she never came out publicly and accepted any acclaim for it.
Embarrassed by her declining looks and rejected project, Hedy became reclusive, hiding away from the society that essentially made but broke her. However, during the mid-1950s, her invention resurfaced during the Cuban Missile Crisis of 1962, but by then the patent on George and Hedy's creation had expired, which meant they did not receive a single cent for their idea. Eventually, through a long process of trial and error, several scientists took years to perfect the technology of spread-spectrum frequency hopping, which is the foundation of the technology that we use today. Although frequency hopping was not used during World War II, it is the foundation for the majority of modern-day technology. It has influenced the technology we use on a daily basis, such as Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, global positioning systems, and satellite transmissions. Hedy Lamarr's creation was essentially the prototype for the majority of present-day technology. She was finally awarded with an Electric Frontier Foundation Pioneer Award in 1997, when her breakthrough ultimately became publicized.
Even though she did have this really dark period, at the end of her life, she really examined what she'd been through and she came out with some wisdom.
Her legacy will live on as a strong, talented, brilliant woman, essentially ahead of our time, who opened the gates to the modern world.
Give the world the best you have and you'll be kicked into the sea. Give the world the best you've got anyway.
In the words of Joyce Betty, Hedy Lamarr should be an inspiration to anyone with a curious mind, anyone who is not willing to settle for what's easy, but wants to try to do something that is difficult, untried, and uncertain of success.
If you do good, people will accuse you of selfish, alternative motives. Do good anyway.
She could have spent her life acting in movies and going to parties, and she did that, but that wasn't enough.
The biggest people with the biggest ideas can be shut down by the smallest people with the smallest mind. Think big anyway.
She saw problems and wanted to solve them. And that is what you will find to be the beauty of her brain.